Hello, Sorare managers and scouts from around the world. Welcome to Sorare TV and the latest episode of the Underdog Pound. Now, we've actually got a really special episode today. I was coming into this game week thinking, yes, rare underdog, I can field a team and I can actually maybe field what could be a pretty strong team. I then went and did all the digging about just to make sure I was all going to line up on lineup builder and Sorare data and all that good stuff. And then when the game week opened, the underdog criteria for the underdog division was L15 under 45, and it just totally ruled out the goalkeepers I had available, and it bummed me out. But then I set up to do it today, and I thought, right, we'll just do the limited team, we'll get the episode all drafted out, we'll have a look and see what guys are knocking around, whatever, and boom, I noticed it went back to 50. I was like, here we go, I can get an underdog rare team in. So, in the episode today, we'll be going through the normal, what we do on here on Sorare TV. I'll be building a limited lineup based on the fixtures and the availability in the market, that sort of thing. But I also have a team that will be going into underdog rare, so we'll be exploring that as well in the video. In the comment section down below, let me know your thoughts on any underdogs for game week 282, and we'll feature them on the next episode of the Underdog Pound. I hope you enjoy this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share and retweet and all that good stuff. Stay out of trouble, and let's get stuck into it. Now, this is like the 4th or 5th episode we've did in this series, and one thing that I wanted to see reoccurring as we delved into this on a weekly basis is returning characters, is guys that if you did pick them up in episode 1 or something like that, or they were going to be useful for you in a previous game week. That's one part of the utility that I think is understated at this point with Underdog, is the playability, because if they don't really work out, they stay underdog qualified, and as long as you've profiled guys correctly, then eventually, a lot of these videos I'm thinking, like, I'm getting to the end, I'm not even going to lie to you guys, again, this team on paper, like, the price of it is incredible. I was tempted to go out and just buy the whole bloody thing, but there comes a point where you would have, you do have enough. You've got goalkeepers that are regularly qualified, you've got midfielders that are qualified 2 weeks in a row, or a guy just came back from an injury, you had somewhere else in your gallery. So seeing returning faces, I'm actually going to lean in towards that in this episode, especially with the goalkeepers, because a lot of the pricing hasn't really changed, doesn't really change for underdog or anything like that, especially. And the returning face that I did see pop up on this, and I thought, yeah, he's priced well, got a great fixture, blah, 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 was Federico Lanzillotta. They are playing Arsenal, who I know from having Axel Werner are dreadful defensively. It's a great game for a clean sheet for him. He's at home. They're in good enough form, I think. Argentinos Juniors, especially compared to Arsenal, who are not doing well at all. And when it comes to the goalkeepers that qualify and play, etc., he's priced very competitively, if not in amongst the floor pieces, if you like. Now, in defence, I was really stuck for choice because there's a lot of decent enough fixtures going around. Some of these guys offer different things as players, so like a token being away to LAFC, he might get a triple and all that kind of game, and if LA didn't score more than 2 goals, maybe he could kick in a big score. McAllister, the guy as well that goes with Lanzillotta, he would qualify, but he's not been playing the last few games through injury. Don't know when he's expected back, and there's plenty of other choices. We don't need to worry about that. We want certainties. And the L5 percentages becomes a very important detail, because you want to make sure that they're in this L15 category, not because they're not playing now, but maybe because they weren't playing 14 games ago or 13 games ago. They were getting benched off the bench all the time, which has brought their average down. Now, for this position, I actually feel really drawn to Jack Mayer. Now, Jack Mayer, I'm pretty sure was the top seed, but he was drafted super high. I'm pretty sure Nashville traded around, like trade picks and stuff like that. I have this guy in my favourites list. I had him identified personally as a guy that could be one to watch out for and get on the cheap. And as a rare, he's obviously just never appealed to me, and I've been frying bigger fish in the meantime. But look at his L5. He's played 100% of matches. He's been playing very well. His limited is cheap as chips. He is U23 as well. And playing next to Walker Zimmerman, and Nashville's a good team to have a strong centre-back in. If he can stay and he can live in that position when Zimmerman's fully back as well with the international break and everything we've had, then I think that could be a great little cheeky limited to pick up. And even if he was to drop out the team for a little while, he can maybe maintain some of that underdog status. But I think away to DC is a great game, because I don't think DC are that dangerous, to be honest with you. Like Nashville, I expect to go there and be resolute and defend very well. Clearances, headers, duels, all that good stuff. And I think Jack Mayer will be involved in that. I don't think DC have 2+ goals in them, basically. and Nashville would be expected to win that match. Now, I know straight away I'm going to be picking two midfielders because Rusnak is still qualified for this. He absolutely kicked on last week with a huge score for an underdog card, that is, and he's still qualified, so I would definitely be putting Rusnak back in. And again, equally, if we used him last week, we would still have him again this week when he's on good form. They're at home to Kansas. It's a great fixture for a card like Albert Rusnak, 100%. I would also probably put into the same camp Keaton Parks, who I'm going to make this returning faces combo out of, if you like. He didn't feature significantly well in the last game week at all. I think he get married during the week, and maybe with the change of manager, maybe missed a few training sessions or something, yada yada. He came off the bench away to Philly, which isn't much of an away trip when it comes to MLS, certainly anyway. I would expect him to start in place of Alfredo Morelos, and I think still being underdog qualified, that could be a great card. And him paired with a Rusnak gives us a great solid midfield that both those guys can get 70 plus, like if the game goes the way for them. In the underdog division, those cards get you into the prizes. Now up front, we've got a lot of great options. I actually think Chicharito is probably the most nailed on. Like, that derby match is always going to have fireworks. It's always a good, entertaining enough match to watch. Chicharito, I could just see him getting a penalty in this game. It's just one of those fixtures where refereeing decisions and small margins decide these games, and I can just imagine Chicharito scored a couple of goals, probably quite feasibly, but also as well, like, he's got that penalty danger as well. San Jose are not known for defensive, keeping clean sheets and all the rest of it, so I actually think he's a great shout. But with that returning faces kind of vibe in mind, Jordan Morris still qualifies, missed the last game on rotation and stuff like that, I think with the international window or whatever, and is 0.024. I think he's an amazing shout. I also think Christian Arango, around the same price as the goalkeeper. He's at home to the Bulls. At home they should be good, but Red Bulls they've been quite good on the road, it must be said. So there's some good options here, but I'm going to try and lean with some of those recurring faces that we've had, because otherwise I don't see, I suppose maybe Chicharito, but he's 3 times the price of Jordan Morris, and I just don't see him being able to pick up 3 times worth the money's more points, if that makes sense. Like, if Morris gets 65, like Chicharito could just get 62 or something from scoring a penalty, Morris could do something even more spectacular. He can get 3 assists and stuff like that. He's a very dangerous player, very active as well, whereas Chicharito is a bit more service reliant. He's not going to get much of an AA game, so even if both of them didn't collect decisives, Morris is much more likely to outscore him, and the fact that he's cheaper, it would just be my pick. So this would be the team we would end up with. I'd captain Rusnak again just because I think he's an absolute killer. In the last game week, this team actually did perform really well, 314 points, and last underdog week you would have to score more than 300 points to get into the cards, and I think this team is 300 capable, no problem. And the way you need to think of it first and foremost is, could you get a 60 average across the 5 of these guys? Because that gets you to 300 instantly, and then as long as you get a good captain choice, worst case scenario, if that can catch a mistake, like a guy just flops and drops in a 25 pointer or something, or comes off the bench and doesn't get much of a game, or equally the captain can take your 300 and make it 350 and really throw you up the tiers and get into a much better prize pool, that kind of thing. And when you look at the recent average and the floor price, it's a very tight margin. So even going up and sweeping this team off the secondary market, for example, which is why I was very tempted to do so, isn't actually at any real expense versus picking up some auctions and that kind of thing. So if there was any of these cards you did want to pick up, they all are all qualified. I think they offer amazing kind of utility, and some of them are recurring faces. So had we picked them up, and I own a few of these guys anyway in different scarcities and whatever, had you picked them up previously, getting some repeat utility. And that's the thing, that this underdog division, buying pieces to satisfy it, you do end up with a little collection. And then, Parks has still got a good enough fixture. He's still expected to play. He's just not quite caught that form yet. You've bought some more time. Rusnak played really well, but his averages are still, he's got one more week of being an underdog. Can we capitalise upon that with a solid defender and forward and a goalkeeper with a plum fixture? And this is what we end up with. So the goal with this team would be to score over 300 points. We'll check on that for next week. And for rare underdog, this is a team I'm throwing out. So I'm going with Captain Parks. Isaka is away to Vissel Kobe, but he played 90 minutes in the last weekend, so I think he's back on to start. We're going with the Galaxy play at the backs again. I don't think San Jose will score more than once against the Galaxy. Araujo is decisive capable himself, and Thiago Andrade didn't get that many minutes in the last game under the new manager, but I think he will get more minutes against Philly, and he's an underdog qualified forward at New York City. So this is potentially a really OP team, and I hope it does very well. It's the first time I'm really going an underdog rare with any real hopes, and I'm using actual cards that I think are credible to go on and win, and I've weakened my global all-star as a result. There's star rare payouts for the top 6 positions and tier 1 rares for the top 35. I just think it's a really nice prize pool, considering all-star being the alternative. It is much bigger, of course. I've weakened it down. I've not got much of a forward. That's the main weakness. And Chanot and Amundsen just are meh scorers. So I'm just expecting that to collect ETH. There is only 5-star rares in this pool also, there is only tier 1 rares to the top 20. So if I was to finish in Underdog 35th, over here I'd be getting a tier 2 rare, and over there I'd be getting a tier 1 rare. There's one more star place payout, there's no podiums, ETH payouts, of course, and there's no tier 3 tail. We're getting a huge tail of tier 2s from what would be the 35th position back to 90, and then from 90 to 250. So there's just more of a floor of catching me. If that team was to pop off, I would get something, but it's the upside. I think this team has upside in it. I think all these guys could get decisives, no problem at all. And I think at this level, if I could get, a 300 plus base, I think this team could get right in amongst some tier 1s and stuff, which isn't available in Global All-Star Rare. I hope you've enjoyed this one, guys. Good luck for game week 282 with your underdogs. Don't forget to let me know your suggestions for underdog cards in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share and retweet and all that good stuff. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.